Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Roo Hammer, Season 3, Episode 43. And tonight we're going to take a look back at how Uncle Ivan's boys unfortunately managed to get the job done again the weekend over the poor Eels. And we're also going to be casting our eye over the upcoming Rugby League World Cup. We're going to be looking at all the squads and seeing where it's going to be won. But before we get started, as always, thanks to our awesome Patreon supporters and all you guys that have bought merchandise. It's your generous support that goes a long way for us and helps us to bring our content through Restream and make our connections with all the guests and bring you all the content that you guys enjoy so much. Hammer, how's it going, mate? Bucketing down there?
Yeah, mate, it's fucking shit. Yeah, the weather is awful. We're bracing ourselves. I reckon we're going to get a month worth of rain in 4 days. So it's been shit this year, man. It's been absolutely shit. But luckily, the weather held off last weekend for our New South Wales multi-tournament, which went pretty well. The team I was involved with, the 16 girls, they had a win. They got up 24-12. But yeah, really great day. We also had victories in the under-16 boys, the under-18 girls, and the open women. So yeah, overall a pretty successful day. Enough about me, mate. Before we introduce our special guest, part of the furniture, mate, you took the family to SeaWorld for Dommy's birthday. How was that?
Yeah, we went to SeaWorld. Yeah, it was actually last week, but yeah, it was really good. It was packed because it was school holidays, but yeah, good to get out and about, see some dolphins and sharks and stingrays and all that sort of thing. Yeah, great for the kids, and then yeah, pretty cruisy week up until now. So yeah, another year older, 7. I'm getting yeah, it makes me feel old as well. So I don't know where these years are going. Yeah, I know. But yeah. So belated happy birthday to Dommy. Mate, as you said, joined by 2 very special guests again, part of the furniture. Not really guests, pseudo co-hosts, shall we refer to them as. Really pleased to be joined by our good mates from across the ditch, Brad Richie Sterling from the Standoff. How you going, boys? All good?
Yeah, evening, guys. Great to be on again.
Great.
Doing good. Speaking of the weather, Hammer, I spent my morning making snowballs and snowmen on the way to work, so it's pretty cold here in Wellington.
I saw that. I actually I saw that on Facebook when I got home from work this afternoon. I thought, well, I'm not doing too bad. I only got a little bit wet. My God. So is that close to where you live, or were you up in the mountains, or what was going on there?
Oh, yeah. So I was driving to a job in Masterton, so about an hour and a half away. And, yeah, up through the Rimutaka Hills, it was absolutely bucketing down with snow. So pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
No concept of that being from Queensland.
No.
No concept of that living in Auckland.
Touche. Yeah, so before we get into the show, as always, guys, just a reminder to everyone that has tuned in tonight, the reason that we do the show live is to get the involvement of all you guys watching. So please, as we do move through the discussion points, join the conversation, leave your comments, your thoughts and opinions. And please be aware that we do have current and ex-players and their families that do watch the webcast. So please keep your comments respectful and refrain from making them personal.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get into it, boys. We'll start off with the grand finals that were played last weekend. Started off with the State Cup, which was the Penrith Panthers 44 defeating the North Devils 10. Did you guys watch that telecast of that game?
No.
Yeah, I caught the highlights of it.
Yeah, it's basically the New South Wales Premiers play off against the Queensland Premiers for the bragging rights. Another victory for the Penrith club, following on from the SG Ball Jersey Flag and the New South Wales Cup Premiership. They really dominated the Devils. Rob, as you know, that Devil side is a pretty red-hot side in that Queensland
Very good
Cup.
side. Yes, for sure.
So to put 44 points on them and do it comfortably, and I would say that the Q Cup standard is a lot higher than that of the New South Wales Cup. So that victory kind of just demonstrates just how good that Panthers club is going at the moment. We're going to talk about them in depth a little bit later on.
Says a lot.
Yeah. The NRLW Grand Final. Brad Inger's Newcastle Knights. 32 defeated the Parramatta Eels 12 for the Knights. Kiana Tukarangi, 2 tries. Paki a try. Teetsall, Upton, Southwell, Clydesdale tries. Dibb 1 from 4 and Southwell 1 from 3 goals. For Parramatta, Anderson and Taylor tries. Preston 2 from 2 goals. Brad, what did you make of this game? And your wife, Millie Inger, she played quite well.
She did. It's just good to have a team that actually wins something for a change. Millie, we talked about it last night. Millie was really good up the middle. She ran for 268 meters, which was almost 100 meters more than the Eels' best, who was Kennedy Cherrington. She only ran for 175. But it wasn't just all Millie as much as I'd like it to be. Tamika Upton, I thought, did really well. She was inserting herself a lot. But the Eels, I think, could be proud of what they did. It just looked like they ran out of puff towards the end, in my opinion. The Knights were just too good. But they gave it to them for, I'd say, at least an hour.
They did. I thought Taylor Preston's kicking game, especially in the first 10, 15 minutes, was quite good. She varied it up a little bit to try and take Tamika Upton out of the game, and then she put one out on the full, and that was kind of the end of that. She just went back to regular kicking. Millie had a couple of uncharacteristic handling errors early in that game, which turned over a bit of possession for...
We don't talk about that.
Yes, we do.
What about her Macca's run in full kit? Did you see that after the game? Turned up the Macca's in a full kit.
Did see that. Yeah, did see that. But yeah, it was a pretty dominant performance from the Knights, considering the good thing about this, and we spoke about it last week, was these were the 2 teams that didn't make the semis last year. So for them to feature in a grand final, and the Knights, in the 2021 season, didn't win a game. So this was outstanding turnaround for them. And as you said, Millie Boyle, 272 run meters. Upton was fantastic with her, 181 run meters, 4 tackle breaks, 2 low breaks and a try. And she was awarded the Karen Murphy Medal for the player of the match in that one. I really like when they bring Emma Manzelmann on the Knights. They retained Olivia Higgins on the field. She drops back and plays that lock forward role. And so they've effectively got 2 halves and 2 dummy halves out there playing. It kind of reminded me of the Tigers in 2005 when Dean Hallertau would play that role for the Tigers when they won that premiership. Same kind of thing, really. So, yeah, good win for the Knights. Going to be interesting to see what players are held on to for next season with another 4 teams coming in. The Knights do have a strong contingent of local juniors there, but they also have a couple of girls there from up North Queensland way who played for the Capras, I think it was, in the Queensland Cup, Rob. So a lot of those girls may head home. Romy Teetsall, Emma Manzelmann, they may head home for the Cowboys next year. So going to be interesting to see who's where and what. The NRL Grand Final, boys. Penrith, 28, defeated the Eels, 6. Penrith, 28 points came from 2 tries to To'o, try to Crichton, Sorensen and Staines. Cleary, 4 from 6. For Parramatta, it was a try to Gutherson and a goal to Mitch Moses. Richie, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, extremely professional from Penrith, isn't it? And suffocating, I guess. I think I had them completing at about 86% and scoring at pretty regular intervals in the first half, which pretty much shut the game down pretty early. And I think we were talking about it last night, weren't we, Brad? It seemed every time they scored points, the set after scoring points, they would just hammer home the advantage, march all the way upfield, and I think they've even had a repeat set off the back of points, and they just squeezed the life out of Para. And as hard as Para fought, I mean, I didn't think they were extremely bad, but I think that we talked about it last week. We needed a very good Para performance and to be Penrith to be slightly off, but all things being equal, if Penrith were playing their best, I don't think anybody could have stopped them. So I think you're on the money last week, Hammer. You called 13 plus, so kudos. Good pick.
Mate, they just play the game at a different pace to everybody else. They're on a completely different level. They're just relentless with their attack. Para were forced to defend their line for repeat sets, and that weight of possession just played into Penrith's hands. Penrith, I had a stat here. Penrith had 62% possession stat, completing at 81%, and that was at halftime. That was just absolutely ridiculous. And in a grand final, they had 600 more run meters in that first half, and Para had 25 missed tackles. And then to add to that, you had Edwards with 146 run meters, To'o with 177, Fisher with Harris with 115, and Martin with 114, all in the first half. It's just ridiculous. In comparison, the Eels only had 3 players over 50 metres in that first half with their run meters. So it just shows that dominance that Penrith had. What did you make of the Scott Sattler type tackle that Dylan Edwards made on Bailey Simonson, Rob? Did you like that one?
Yeah, Bailey Simonson got on the TB 1-2 too, didn't he? Yeah, look, it's probably not quite fair to compare the tackles. I mean, Sattler's was a lock running down a winger, and this was a fullback coming across a cover tackle. Like a lot of people have said, Bailey Simonson needed to cut in field, and he just head straight down the sideline, which made it pretty easy for Dylan Edwards. Still a great tackle, though, and had to be made.
Yeah.
Still a great moment. He was unreal, Dylan Edwards. And yeah, I'm still so unlucky for him to miss that Kangaroo side. But
we'll talk about that.
Deserving, well deserving of that Clive Churchill medal. But yeah, poor Bailey Simonson, he got a dislocated shoulder as well.
Yep.
For his efforts too. So yeah.
The other one in that game too was in that second half. The Eels had a chance to kind of try to claw their way back into the game, and they had Micah Sevo nearly going over for a try, and you'd never see Micah Sevo drop a ball, not that close to the line. Good defence from Stephen Crichton there, Brad, on that one.
Yeah, I think it was a combination there, and I think the Eels, it felt like they just couldn't buy a try. It just seemed like any time it looked like they would normally score, it just didn't happen. Which I think we talked about last night, Richie. Panthers still missed a lot of tackles. They were still like over 30 missed tackles, but they got the ones that counted. So you could miss 100 tackles, but if you hold your opposition to 12 points, it's not really that bad.
No.
So yeah, they got the ones that counted, and their goal line defense is, dare I say, probably the best in the comp, and has been for a while.
Yeah, a bit of history made in this one too, boys. It's the first time father and son combinations have played against each other at NRL Grand Final. Nearly didn't happen, but once Jake Arthur got on the field in that last 8 minutes or so that he was thrown in there, he got himself a try as well.
Meaty.
Quite nice for him. Mate, Penrith, 22 wins and only 4 losses all season. They've had 64 wins from 74 games over the past 3 seasons. I know people talk about the Dragons of the 50s and 60s, but this Penrith side is probably the best club side I've ever witnessed myself. And that says a lot because, you know, you're going back to the Raiders of the late 80s, early 90s. You had the Broncos, in 92, 93. Melbourne have been so consistent, for the last 20 years. But this record that these Panthers have, and the fact that they've got the 3 grades below them have all won their premierships as well. So they've got the depth as well. I said to Rob the other day, I can see them maybe not winning 10 grand finals in a row, but fuck, they're going to be there and abouts over the next 10 years with the depth that they've got there.
They know it too, don't they? They don't mind letting people know.
Well, interesting, isn't it? What did you guys make of the aftermath and their celebrations? Because it's quite interesting. We've had other journos such as Phil Rothfield and Paul Kent come out and lambast them for the way that they carried on, saying that they need to learn some humility. They don't need to embarrass their opposition. And then you've got, no surprises, Mark Geyer and Greg Alexander, both Penrith old boys.
What's the problem?
Come out and support, saying, "Oh, it's all taken out of context, and they're just enjoying the celebrations." What did you guys make of what's been reported in the media, the aftermath? Api Coruscant bagging out the Tigers, basically showing off his rings and saying he'll never win one again.
It was, to be honest, it was like schoolboy stuff. Like it was a lot of it was just pretty immature, like mocking your opposition, mocking your future employers. Like I get that they've just won a premiership, and great, and they were fantastic as we've just touched on. But show a little bit of humility and class and maturity. That was the biggest thing for me. It's like you see that there are a bunch of guys that probably sit around and play PlayStation and watch cartoons all day, like Jerome Luai has openly said he does, and that's the kind of stuff that comes out when he wins. Like, it's all social media driven as well. All these stupid posts that they've done, everything's just in the heat of the moment. No thought for what might happen afterwards. But as they've said, a bunch of guys that have had no sleep and just been partying for hours on end, and you give them a microphone, probably not going to say the such words of wisdom, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly right. Look at the Johns boys back in the day. Better than Lego.
that one got Millie threw that one out at the night celebration after the girls grand final the other day too. The better than Lego.
So I touched on it last night. I said I don't like the way they did it, but they win, so they can kind of do whatever they want. I kind of put it. I'd much rather see them being tossers than going out there and bashing someone's head in a bar. They're not doing anything illegal. It might rub us the wrong way, but it just gives 16 other teams the perfect fuel to why they need to win. They can't let these guys get a third one in a row. So it adds fuel to the opposition, which should be good. But the only way to shut them up is to beat them. And,
True.
Yeah. Here's a thought for you boys. So Panthers feature in all these grand finals this year. The last time a club team played in the three successive grand finals, first grade, reserve grade, and the under-21s, was back in 2011 when the Warriors played in all three grand finals. Small coincidence that Ivan Cleary was our head coach at the Warriors at that time. We were on the cusp of a dynasty back then that kind of just fell away, and we fell off a precipice the very next year.
Swift.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you, Wayne Scarra.
I guess it's no coincidence that Ivan's involved with the Panthers and they've got this kind of success, because he was always very big about blooding young guys through, bringing young guys through. He was very good with the pathways of development at the Warriors at that time as well.
He brought in team.
Really
that's what I remember saying when we spoke to him. He brought in a lot of guys that weren't necessarily the best players, but guys that fitted in with the team. And they just blended well with the squad. Everyone got on well, and you can see it again here in Penrith.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan Edwards, you touched on it before. Clive Churchill medalist, well deserved. I know Brad had his money on Nathan Cleary for his Clive Churchill medalist.
That tackle ruined me. I know you guys just talked about how great it was, but when I saw that, I saw my money just go down the drain.
I had my multi was Dylan Edwards, but I needed Cleary to score, and he bombed that try. Maybe if he had scored that try, he would have got it. Churchill. Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think I would have missed out either way. Just a couple of other awards that were given out on Grand Final Day. Mr. Angry Cody Walker, he won the Ken Stevens medal. I guess is that a medal that's given for pushing people when you're losing on the scoreboard and just being a natural antagonist? Is that what the Ken Stevens medal's for?
Yes,
it would have to be. Yeah.
And Kennedy Charrington winning the Veronica White medalist. So congratulations to those guys. What's not on your notes, boys, but I've added something in for tonight, just a little bit of Warriors discussion, a bit of news, and you guys would have touched on it last night on your show. Aaron Penne released from the Warriors. He's released from the final year of his contract. I spoke with Aaron yesterday, and he told me he was heading back to Melbourne. And then on his social media today, he's actually posted that he's arrived at Melbourne Airport. So no secrets there. Look, if we're being honest, Aaron probably didn't hit the heights that both the club and the fans expected, and probably he expected of himself. He did play 14 games, majority of those off the bench. I think he had 3 starting games this year. Lovely bloke off the field. Have a lot of time for him, but didn't really give the... For me, he didn't really give that impact that we needed when he came on to replace guys like Lodge at the time and Adam Fanua-Blake. What do you guys think of his departure? Fair call?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to probably discuss it a bit more next week on our show because we did predictions at the start of the year, and I had him as my signing of the year prediction and was well and truly beaten there. It's disappointing to see him go. I really wanted to see him have a chance to bounce back, but if your heart's not in it, that bounce back's never going to happen. So I think it's probably best for both sides. To cut him loose. It's not as upsetting as several others that they cut loose this year. So I think as long as it all depends on who comes in to take the spot. Yeah, I think will be the biggest factor on that in my eyes. But yeah, he didn't really give the impact that he was getting paid for.
You're not the only one that picked him as the club buy of the year. Considering that coming into this season, we only really bought 2 players, and he was one and Sean Johnson was the other. So I think we were all on the Aaron Penne bandwagon, so to speak, in what he could bring, especially coming from that Storm, the Melbourne Storm and that Storm system. We probably assumed that he was going to do some big things. But for me, him heading back to the Storm, probably not a bad thing for him with the departure of both the Bromwich brothers and Felice Kafusi to the Dolphins. Is probably an opportunity for him there to play some first grade. But, if I'm being honest, he wouldn't have been in my top 17 for next year with guys that we've got coming to the club either.
Yeah.
I don't know if we touched on it last week, but a name change for 2023 for the Warriors.
We are the one. We are the one. We are the one.
So they're going to be called the One New Zealand Warriors. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, boys. This aligns with the fact that Vodafone have now changed their name in New Zealand.
Yeah,
Vodafone
correct? New Zealand.
Yeah. Okay, so so they're going to be called the One New Zealand Warriors, which is quite interesting because it's a position that we've never been. It has.
O2, yeah, come on.
Sorry, by default because of the Bulldogs team that got all their points taken off it. But
thanks, doggies. Yep.
It has the potential to be a little bit of a logistical nightmare with stadium signage and all media signage and so forth needing to be replaced. Rob, you had a bit of a text with Glenn Harris, the Warriors general manager of marketing, the other day. What did he say to you about this?
He said they've been well on board with it, so from the start. So I would imagine they would have been quite aware of what was going to take place, and as you said, the big, huge task of taking down all the Vodafone signs, replacing them with one NZ. Because when you think about it, the Vodafone is on absolutely all on the club logo and everything other than the playing jerseys. So
it's surrounding all of us right now.
Everywhere.
Exactly.
It's like Vodafone Warriors, Vodafone Warriors, everything's Vodafone Warriors. So it's going to take a lot of time to get used to being the One NZ Warriors.
They're all collected.
That's it. Hang on to your jerseys, guys. They're going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
else we get? What is it? It's a green. It's a greeny kind of logo now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I actually don't mind the new logo. Because green's my favorite color, so I'm biased. But it's like a little Wi-Fi signal instead of a comma. So
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the Iron Man thing, but not in like Iron Man colours. Yeah. I guess this this confirms that there's going to be a brand new jersey coming out next year at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely at least a new logo. I suspect that we are going to have a new design because when we switched manufacturers from Canterbury to Puma, we essentially kept the same design. And you're allowed, so every 2 years you're allowed to change your jersey. So I'll bet my bottom dollar, the Warriors being the Warriors and their history and track record with jerseys, we'll be changing it this year with a brand new green Proton Blast sponsor. What's that move that Iron Man does in Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Proton Cannon or whatever. Plus on it. So, yep. All you merch fans, and I'm one of them, watch this space.
Yeah.
So they're aligning with my color scheme, so it's good.
Yeah, I prefer red. I've always been red's my favorite color. So.
It's going to make the picnic blanket a collector's item, Brad. There, that one hanging behind you in the background. Another bit of news: Jackson Ford has confirmed to sign from the Dragons. He's confirmed to sign on a 2-year deal. I did have to have a bit of a laugh to myself when they announced it, saying that he comes with over 100 games experience in NRL and New South Wales Cup, and then I kind of delved into it, and he's played 30 games in the NRL, all of them off the bench. So, but in saying that, I'm not laughing. He's played 30 games more than me in the NRL. So, to play one game in the NRL is a good thing. You know, he's got 30 under his belt, but I just thought the wording of that was a bit bizarre, trying to sell it a little bit more to us fans. Not re-signing Eli Katoa, but signing a guy like Jackson Ford. I can only assume that the asking price for Katoa was kind of a lot higher than what Ford's asking, and Ford probably he's going to come to us purely as a depth signing, I think. I don't think you'll see much first grade, not with the likes of Barnett and Niokore coming on board and joining, the Josh Currans and the Tohu Harrises and guys like that we've already got in our forward stocks. But as you said last week, Brad, we do need these kind of signings to boost our reserve grade roster for next season, because we are going to have a true reserve grade that's going to travel and play in that New South Wales Cup competition. So I assume he would have been at bargain basement dollar price, though.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you look at it, if you tell Katoa that he's going to spend all year playing New South Wales Cup, he's not going to be happy and want to get out. Where if you tell this guy, we signed you in, you're playing, he's like, yep, I'm basically doing that already, but I'll do it with you guys. So it's just that perception. If you're dropping a player that wants to be a first grader all the time, obviously they all want to be first graders, but it's that expectation. And we've seen a lot of young guys, I'm not throwing shade at Katoa, but a lot of young guys, if they don't get into that 17, they're automatically demanding to be released, which we've seen plenty at the Warriors. So I think it's a smart move. He's not going to be, the GOAT or anything coming in and dominating first grade, but you need players that are willing to be New South Wales Cup players, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last bit of Warrior stuff I've got is just the media reports around Josh Curran. A lot of conflicting stories. As regular viewers would know, we have a pretty close relationship with Josh and his family. We don't have any information, so because of that, then there's really nothing for us to report here. You guys have any Warriors news? Anything close to home in New Zealand at the moment that's been raised?
No, the only news I got happened just as we came on board, and that's we've finally got a conclusion to Cameron Munster's where he will go. He's re-signed with Melbourne as of like 20 minutes ago. So the Dolphins have lost another one.
Another one.
And the Tigers have lost another one. Weren't they offering him like 10 million
They were
for half a season or something?
Yeah.
Let's get his dollar value up there a little bit more. They were going to throw him $1 billion a year deal, weren't they?
Yeah. So I don't have all the details, but I just saw it as we were going live.
I think I saw a quote from him saying that he still wanted to win games as well. So that probably rules the Tigers out.
Absolutely.
That's hurtful. That's hurtful.
Absolutely. A couple of other signings. Ben Hunt signed. He re-signed with the Dragons through to 2025. And the Dolphins have picked up, I guess they could call it their marquee signing. They signed the Hammer, Hammerside Tabua Fido, on a 2-year deal. So congratulations to those guys all. So Melbourne also announced a couple of re-signings, Trent Lerero and a few other guys. Eisenhuth. And there was one more. Yeah, so... but it's interesting. There's a lot of guys coming off contract or able to negotiate as of 1st of November. So we'll keep an eye out for those guys. Ken Wills, the Dolphins still have Edric Lee and Brenko.
And Brenko. So, 2 Origin players. Yeah. Don't forget that.
All right, let's get into the discussion of the night. The Rugby League World Cup. The boys have done a little bit of homework for tonight. We're going to go through the pool. So, Rugby League World Cup kicks off. It's actually the 2021 Rugby League World Cup, postponed due to COVID last year. It commences on October 15th. The first game being played is the host nation England up against Samoa at St James Park. That game kicks off at 11:30 your time, Rob. It'll be on the 15th of October, I think, or 14th of October. It's 12:30 our time on the 15th, and I think it'll be 2:30 a.m. No, sorry, it's a 15th for you, Rob. It's a 16th for us. It'll be 2:30 for the
Too
boys.
many time zones, eh?
Too many time zones, mate. But the gist of the tournament pool games will run until Tuesday, the 2nd of November. There's 4 quarterfinals. They'll be played from the 5th to the 7th of November. The 2 semi-finals will be played on the 12th and the 13th, and culminating in the final on Sunday, the 20th of November. And I'm sure that's all our time. These dates are all Southern Hemisphere dates for us here in Australia and New Zealand. And we'll get into the women's one after we discuss the men's. Let's go through the pools, boys. Pool A, England, France, Greece, Samoa. And we've kind of picked 2 teams that we're going to focus on from each pool based on the fact that we think these will be the 2 teams that go through to the quarterfinal stage. So in Pool A, we've picked England and Samoa as the 2 teams. Brad, do you want to go through the England squad and give me your probable 1 to 17 or their best 17 going into the tournament?
All right. So, the England squad, we've got Andy Eckers. I'm going to probably butcher all these names. Joe Batchelor, John Bateman, Tom Burgess, Mike Cooper, Herbie Farnworth, Ryan Hall, Chris Hill, Morgan Knowles, Maddie Lees, Tommy Mackinson, Michael McLaurin, I think it is, McLaurin, something like that. Mike McMeekin, Mikolaj Oledeski, very English sounding name there. Kai P.S. Paul, Victor Radley, Mark Sneed, Luke Thompson, Sam Tompkins, Alan Watkins, Jack Wellesley, Elliot Whitehead, George Williams, and Dominic Young. That's their roster. My 17, I've got Sam Tompkins at fullback. My wingers, I've got Tommy Mackinson and Dominic Young. Centres are Callum Watkins and Herbie Farnworth. My halves, I've got George Williams and Jack Wellesley. Front row is Maddie Lees, Andy Eckers, and Luke Thompson. This one, second row, I've got John Bateman with an asterisk because he's actually suspended for the first 3 matches. So I'll have Joe Batchelor in his place in those ones, but full strength, John Bateman will be there, Elliot Whitehead, and Victor Radley as my lock. And then my bench, I've got Michael McAurum, Tom Burgess, Mikolaj, and Morgan Knowles.
Pretty strong team.
Rubbish
Yeah,
team.
squad's rubbish. Oh, it's great form.
Pretty strong team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good representation of NRL players in there, and guys that have played in the NRL. Johnny Bateman, Sam Tompkins have all had periods here in the NRL. Did Tommy Mackinson play in the NRL, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I'm not sure because the name is real familiar. But then I do watch Super League from time to time, so I'm not sure.
There are a few guys that came out here and played like brief first grade, and
he never did it. He's just St. Helens, so that's probably why. Because St. Helens are always in the bloody grand final. So
yeah, fair enough. I think they'll probably go through. I don't know. They could get taken out by Samoa. Actually, Samoa have a pretty strong squad. Richie, why don't you take us through that Samoa squad and give us your top 17? And can you do it in your best Soleil Samoan accent?
I'll do it. Okay, here we go.
No, you don't have.
You gotta be super fresh.
No, the squad is Josh Aloiai, Fa'amanu Brown, Stephen Crichton, Matthew Whiangai, Braden Hamlin Ueli, Chanel Harris Tavita, Royce Hunt, Oregon Kaufusi, Luciano Leilua, Spencer Lenu, Danny Levy, Jerome Luai, Taylor May, Tyron May, Anthony Milford, Josh Papali'i, Junior Bolo, Jaden Sua, Joseph Suali, Hamasai Tabuai Fido, Isaac Tango, Mari Tapau, Brian To'o, and Kalma Tuilangi. Ooh, that's a pretty hot squad.
It's a strong.
It's a pretty good squad. The 17 I'd run with, roughly, Joseph Suali'i at fullback, Brian To'o and Taylor May on the wings, Stephen Crichton, Isaac Tango in the centres, Jerome Luai, Anthony Milford in the halves, Junior Bolo, Manu Brown, Josh Papali'i front row, Jaden Sua, Luciano Leilua second row, Josh Aloiai 13, Chanel Harris Tavita, Braden Hamlin Ueli, Royce Hunt, and Spencer Lenu on the bench. Roughly, that's what I'd run with. Pretty good.
Good side.
Given that the side of the draw they end up on is opposite side of Kiwis and Aussie in the finals.
Yeah,
pretty big opportunity for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Luciano Leilua won't be playing. That's he's been handed down a suspension for the domestic violence charge. I think it is. So, and there's no length on that. They've just said he's suspended.
I didn't know if he'd be gone for the whole thing. So he's replaceable anyway. There's other people I didn't put in the 17, Marty Tapau and whatnot. So there's pretty good depth there.
That's a great looking squad, isn't it? Like you look at a lot of those guys that were eligible to play for Australia, and Australia still come out with a pretty strong squad. So you can imagine how strong that Aussie squad would have been if all those guys that pledged their allegiance to Samoa and Tonga stayed loyal to Australia for this tournament. They would have
like TK has just said. People complaining about Paul Kent complaining about the origin eligibility thing is it makes for an awesome World Cup. We're allowing all these guys to represent their heritage. And
come on.
Absolutely.
You know the Australians don't care about the international game. You're over there right now.
No.
Is there a World Cup on? Is there a World Cup?
Yeah.
World Cup.
We've in that pool. There's also France and Greece. I'm not going to even try to go through any of these French names. And I kind of was going through looking for players that I could say, there's a guy that's playing. I don't know any of these guys that are playing for France. A lot of
Justin
them are from
Murphy on to help us.
We could. A lot of them are from Le Catalan and Toulouse, so they're kind of just local boys. So, I don't think they'll feature too well. And then Greece. Greece has named a squad, a couple of guys with NRL experience in their squad. Lachlan Ilias, obviously from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Billy Magoulias, who's now playing at Newtown Jets. He has had a stint at South and I think Penrith.
Cronulla.
Cronulla, was it?
Yep.
Peter Mamazoulis, who's also a South Sydney Rabbitoh. Billy Sarikas from the Canterbury Bulldogs. And Jordan Meads, who's up at the Sunshine Coast. Didn't Jordan Meads play for the Warriors in the 20s when we won the comp in 2011?
Did he kick a field goal to win it?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was one of our halves, yeah.
I was wondering what happened to him. Oh, he's playing for Greece.
Yeah, he's playing for Greece, mate. There's a couple of other guys whose names are quite familiar to me, but that's only because I've seen them running around in Queensland Cup or New South Wales Cup. But the local, the normal punter on the sidelines wouldn't have a clue who some of these blokes are. So
Georgie Gaddis will be right behind him.
Georgie Gaddis will be right behind him. Steady Eddie. Our good mate Steady Eddie. Pool B, Australia, Fiji, Italy and Scotland in this pool. The two teams that we obviously nominated as probably the best chances to go through from this, obviously Australia and Fiji. Rob, do you want to try and pronounce the Australian names? Go through the Australian squad and try and pronounce their names?
I'll do my best. I'll give it a shot, guys. Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right. Josh Addo-Carr, Matt Burton, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Patrick Carrigan, Daly Cherry-Evans, Nathan Cleary, Lindsay Collins, Ruben Cotter, Angus Crichton, Tino Fa'asumalawi, Campbell Graham, Harry Grant, Valentine Holmes, Ben Hunt, Liam Martin, Latrell Mitchell, Cameron Munster, Cameron Murray, Jeremiah Nanai, Murray Taulungi, James Tedesco, Jake Trebojevic, Jack Whiten, and Isaiah Yeo. It was actually quite hard to come up with a best 17. There's so many good players in this squad. I gave it a shot. And if I was to pick a game day 17 for the Kangaroos, it'd be Tedesco, Addo-Carr, Whiten, Mitchell, and Valentine Holmes on the wing, Cam Munster and Nathan Cleary in the halves, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Ben Hunt, and Lindsay Collins in the front row, Nanai and Tino second row, Cameron Murray at lock, on the bench Harry Grant, Cotter, Patrick Carrigan, and Isaiah Yeo. A lot of good players missed out on that team. So, I mean, I even left out Cherry Evans, despite being a Queenslander, him being Queensland captain. I just think Nathan Cleary's in better form, and he's got to be there.
Yeah, so you said there was a good squad for the Kangaroos, but did you mean the Jillaroos? Because that side's rubbish.
Well, you actually...
Big talk,
okay.
Yeah. Millie's not
Trash talk starting already.
Millie's not going to the World Cup, mate, for the women, so you don't really care about the Jillaroos anymore, do you?
No, she's helping us set up our new place, so...
Yeah, okay.
We're busy. We're busy.
Gotcha, yeah. You're right, Rob, that it's a pretty strong squad, and as I said, if the boys like Luai, Crichton, To'o, and the like had have pledged their allegiance to Australia and not Samoa, there's a couple of guys that would have missed out on this Kangaroo squad. The interesting one is there's three guys that I thought were going to be shoo-ins for this squad that didn't get picked. Hudson Young, I thought he was outstanding this year for the Raiders, and I really thought he was a great chance of being picked to get a seat on the plane. Dylan Edwards, after the season he's had with the Panthers, very unlucky to miss out. Obviously, they're taking Tedesco and their backup fullback, if Tedesco gets injured, to be Latrell Mitchell.
Or Jack Whiten as well.
Or Jack Whiten.
Yep.
And the other one was Nico Hines, the Dalian medalist. Doesn't get a seat on the plane either. So, very unlucky for those guys.
It just makes sense that the supposed best player in the NRL doesn't play at the World Cup. It makes sense.
Yeah, best player in the NRL and the best player in the NRL Grand Final. Yeah, they don't get to go. Yeah, they can stay home. Fiji. Richie, we're going to give you another list of tongue twisters.
Yeah, I've got given a hospital pass here. All of
go through that?
Anaka, my brothers and sisters from Fiji. I love your people. I love your footy players, but I'm no expert at your names.
Yeah.
I'll give it my best, though. I'll give it my best.
Yeah.
So the squad, as I've seen it named, is Api Coruscant, Ben Nakubuai, Braden Wakeham, Isaac Lumilumi, Joseph Vakathiravalu, Josh Wong, that's an easy one, Jawasa Drojalangi, Kevin Nagama, King Vuniyayawa, Corbin Sims, Kyla Miller, Lamar Leo Lavave, Mike Sivo, Michaeli Revalawa, Natani Masima, Pinioni Tangi Tuamua, Pioseki, Sami Velame, Sidivini Modadraki, Sunia Taruva, Taniela Sadrugu, Tui Kamikamitha, Viliami Kakao, Fuati Karawalevu. That's the squad, actually. And as a 17, I tried to piece something together. I know they're missing some notable names they've had in the past, like Campbell Gillard, Nwanga Blake. The Saifidis aren't there. I think Tarek Sims not there. So fullback Sunia Taruva, the young Panther, Mike Sivo and Revalawa on the wings, Semi Velame, Kevin Nagama, centres, Braden Wakeham and Henry Rawalui, I think it's the Haas, Joseph Ratu, Api Coruscant, Tui Kamikamitha, front row, Viliami Kakao, King Vuni Yayawa, and Ben Nakabuai as 13. Piniona Tangi Tamua, Leo Lavavi, Josh Wong, and Kyla Miller as the bench. Yeah. Some of those guys I know from NRL experience, and there's others I'm not 100% sure of, but
they've got they've got a good representation of NRL players in the squad, especially in their back line. Wingers Ravalawa and Mike Sivo.
Good strike there.
And Velame as well. He's done well.
Yeah, Taruva's going to be a star too at fullback. When he played in the Pacific Test earlier in the year, he was a beast. He was. A lot of run meters, a lot of tackle breaks. So I think there's a lot of strike there.
Absolutely. Sure. In that pool as well, we've got Italy and Scotland. Italy, probably I'm looking at the list of names here. Probably the two biggest names that stand out for the Italian squad is Nathan Brown from the Parramatta Eels and Cooper Johns from the Melbourne Storm, or formerly from the Melbourne Storm. He hasn't been re-signed at the Melbourne Storm. Couple of other names, as I said, that I've seen running around in the lower grades, but probably not household names to other people. And Scotland. Where's my Scottish list? So Scotland have they've got Kane Linnett, former Rooster, I think he was. Cowboy as well, yeah. James Bell, who I'm sure he was formerly at the Warriors.
He was,
Two games or something for the Warriors back in 2017. Yeah.
Yep, and Ewan Aitken, probably their biggest name, formerly of the Warriors, now of the Redcliffe Dolphins. Redcliffe Dolphins having some representation at the Rugby League World Cup. Pool C. This is the big pool. This is the one that we care about. For various reasons. We care about it because of New Zealand. Rob's on Jamaica.
Go the Reggae Warriors. Yeah. I'm sticking with the Warriors no matter what.
So Pool C is Ireland, Jamaica, Lebanon, and New Zealand. So we've got the Kiwi squad, which I saw somewhere today.
It's a good squad.
Great squad.
Yeah, it is a good squad.
Is it though? Is it really?
It's a great squad.
So our Kiwi squad is Nelson Asafa-Solomona, the Bromwich brothers, Jesse and Kenny, Dylan Brown, James Fisher-Harris, Kieran Foran, Peter Hiku, Jerome Hughes, Sebastian Chris, who I thought was a bolter for the Kiwi squad this time around, Moses Leota, Isaac Liu, Isaac Liu, Joseph Manu, Jeremy Marshall King, Pre-Jack Mulatalo, Chance Nickel Kluckster, Britton Nakora, Marata Niokore, Isaiah Papali'i, Jordan Rapana, Brandon Smith, Scott Sorensen, Joseph Tarpanay, Jared Waria Hargraves, and Dallin Wateni Zalesniak. Now, I came up with a 17, and it's probably a 17 that picks itself. And I went for experience as well. So I got Joseph Manu at fullback, Ronaldo Mulatalo, Jordan Rapana on the wings. I've got Petahiku, and I've picked Murata Niokore in the centres. I think he offers a bit of size. And he played that centre role in the mid-season test. Dylan Brown and Jerome Hughes. I've got James Fisher-Harris, Jesse Bromwich up in the front row because he's the captain. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have had him in my starting 17. And Brandon Smith, Isaiah Papali'i, Kenny Bromwich, and Joseph Tarpanay as the back row. And my bench, I've got Kieran Foran. I'll have Britton Nakora until Jared Warrior is available. Nelson Asafa Solomona and Moses Leota. So as with the Kangaroos, there's some players out. Couple of key omissions from the squad. Ken Mamalo, Corey Harawira Naira both missed out. Sean Johnson obviously missed out. And just a special shout out to Thomas Lulai, who's captaining the Kiwis in this
weekend
game against Leeds on Monday. In his final game
Sunday
before he retires. So that's a nice way for him to go out.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah. What do you guys make that Kiwi squad? Pretty strong, isn't it?
Yeah. Strongest team in the comp right now, just on paper, in my honest opinion. I think you got the best players from the Panthers forward pack. Apart from Isaiah Yeo, locked in there, you've got one of the best halves running around that isn't called Cleary. There's talent all over the place. It used to always be the Kiwis always had like either good backs or good forwards. They never had a combination of both. I think this is the first time in a while. And I still see a lot of people complaining that there's not a lot of Warriors named in that side, but I think that's for the betterment. The fact that there's so many talented Kiwis playing in all the clubs, I think, is a testament to how good New Zealand players actually are.
The other thing about the Warriors representation is that a lot of the Warriors players at the moment aren't even Kiwis. Got a lot of Aussies in that squad at the Warriors. And mate, the player you didn't mention, best player in the world at the moment, Joey Manu, can cover any position from 1 through to 6 in that back line, and looks dangerous no matter what position he's playing. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he'll be the player of the tournament, and the Kiwis to win it in a final against Tonga. Can we play Tonga in the final?
I believe so, because we have to play. If everything goes the way it should, New Zealand Kangaroos will be one of the semis.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We really need one of those two teams to capitulate to end up on the other side. But odds are both teams will win their pool, which means they'll end up, as long as they win the quarters, they'll meet up against each other in the semis.
You'll know this then, Brad. Could Tonga play Samoa in a semi?
Potentially.
If Samoa finishes second in their pool. So if Samoa win that pool and England finish second, it'll be Tonga versus England, and then it could be Tonga Samoa to play the Kiwis in the final.
How nutty would that be as a semi-final?
England won't know what hit them. England won't know what hit them. They won't know what hit them. Like the fans, I mean, seeing that kind of game, that spectacle.
Yeah.
So for the Kiwis, if everything goes to plan, then we could end up playing Fiji in the quarters.
I don't want to do that again.
I was going to say, we all know what happened the last time we played Fiji.
That was a dud game.
Yeah.
What a game, 4-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But a win's a win. Doesn't matter how you get it.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. Take us through your home country of Lebanon.
Yes. I have been asked if I'm Lebanese before, so I guess that's why I qualify to have the honour of reading out the Lebanese squad for this World Cup.
Well, it's just I couldn't read out two squads in the one pool, and I didn't want to give myself Fiji either. So,
cheers, mate.
Don't worry, Rich. I'm probably going to struggle with a couple of these names as well. But here we go. The Cedars, the mighty Cedars. Jacob Carraz, Josh Mansour, Bilal Mabani, Brad Morkos, Abbas Miski, Adam Dewey, Mitchell Moses, Hannah Jonathan El Nakhar, James Romanos, Jalal Bazaz, Eli El Zakham, Shabel Tasipale, Kane Kalachi, Anthony Laoon, Tony Maroon, Khalil Rame, Andrew Kazi, Reese Robinson, Josh Marie, Caleb Rajab, Mike Tanos, Jackson Rame, Tufik El Haj, and Atef Hamran. Apologies if I did get some of those wrong. But
Adam Dewey, you got wrong, mate. The rest were great.
I got Mitchell Moses wrong as well, I think. Guys, to be honest, I think it's actually listed in a 17 anyway. So the first 17 names I read out, that's the 17 that I'm going to pick for Lebanon.
Yeah.
Just a couple of notable players. Obviously, they got a really good halves combination. Adam Dewey and Mitchell Moses.
Yep.
Yeah. They got some decent outside backs as well. Obviously, Josh Mansour didn't play a lot of first grade this year. And Abbas Miski played a little bit of first grade. He scored a great try for Manly against us in that last game in 2020, didn't he, Hammer?
Yeah,
scored
he did.
A freakish try down the sideline. Got a very impressive beard as well.
Right. He looks like Josh Mansour.
Yeah.
So if him and Mansour play on the wings, they are going to have the most impressive beard attack in the World Cup. A couple of other guys. Reese Robinson, he seems like he's been around for a long time, but he's backing up for another World Cup. Remember him making his debut for the Broncos a long time ago. Obviously played a lot of footy for the Raiders as well. But I think look, it's not the worst team, and I think they might get a victory over Jamaica and Ireland.
Yep.
I think they'll have the strength to do that. Incidentally, has anyone heard the Lebanon team song? Has anyone heard Go Go Lebanon? One of the great team anthems. If you guys ever get the chance, Google Go Go Lebanon, and there's a video of Robbie Farris singing it with the boys from the 2017 World Cup. Fantastic lyrics. It's talking about leaving your wives, kiss your wives goodbye. We got a lot of work to do. We're playing for the mighty Cedars. And then the rest of it's just go, Lebanon, go, with all the drums and everything. So, fantastic, scintillating stuff. One of the great team anthems.
Some good NRL representation there. Jacob Carraz is another one from the Bulldogs.
Carraz, I missed out him as well, Played a good season with the Bulldogs.
Yep. And then there's a couple of guys like Kane Kalash and James Romanos have been in lower grades. I think James Romanos actually played first grade for the Bulldogs. I know he's now at Manly. I think looking at who's in the pool with them, Ireland and Jamaica, the Irish have their notable players are Luke Keary, Jamin Jolliffe from the Gold Coast Titans, and Harry Rushton, who was at the Raiders, I think, for a little while this season before released. Aside from that, I have no idea who any of these other blokes are in the Irish. But that's three guys I know. Talking about Jamaica, I have no idea who any of these blokes are.
A lot of the local players, apparently.
how did they even qualify? Like,
I have no idea. So they've got Super League. There's half of them are like Super League guys, and the other half is like local players, according to our good mate HTB, Hold the Ball. He knows a lot more about it than I do, but he said they're going to have plenty of speed. But yeah,
hey, that's racist. Just because they're black doesn't make them fast.
you see people running.
They're not all Usain Bolts, you know.
Go the Reggae Warriors. Go the Reggae Warriors. I'm right behind you, boys.
I'm going to be interested to see how many white guys run out for Jamaica. That'll be the one that gets me.
All right. So, sorry to interrupt. They qualified. I just asked my friend Google. They qualified as the American winners. So they obviously beat the Canadians in America, I assume.
Okay.
Oh, those heavyweights.
Yeah, well, Canada follows it a bit, and America's trying. But
you know what it's all
that's
about.
how. It's and it's obviously their debut in the World Cup.
Good on them.
It's only them in Greece. Everyone else has been in the World Cup before.
Are they going to rock up with a bobsled, I wonder? That'd be pretty cool.
Hey,
I've got to get a Jamaican jersey. Yeah, got to get a Jamaican jersey.
Yeah. The final pool, Pool D, it's probably the most wide open for that second spot. We've got Cook Islands, Papua New Guinea, Wales, and Tonga. I think Tonga will be the team that takes this pool out. Brad, why don't you take us through that Tonga squad?
Yes.
With the correct pronunciations, please, and give us the 1 to 17, our Toka Uso.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. I love you, Tonga. I've been to Tonga and I love it there, but I wasn't good with the names when I was there. We got I'm ballsing it up already. Talatai Junior Amone, David Fafita, Adam Fanua Blake, Mawaki Fotaweka, Siliva Havili, Will Hapawadi, Conrad Harrell, Isaiah Katoa, Sione Katoa, Felice Kapusi, Dion Kalamatangi, Tulatai Kola, Tui Lolahia, Sonny Luke, Love of My Life, Ben Murdoch Masala, Tisi Nu, Hamole Olakotuatu, I got that wrong, Will Penasini, Moses Suli, Sio Sifa Talakai, Tavita Totola, Sio Sua Takiaho, Jason Tamalolo, and Daniel Tupou. Legit team. That is a terrifying team.
It is.
The 17 I got Tessie New as my fullback, Daniel Tupou and Sione Katoa on the wings. Look at this for a centre pairing. Conrad Harrell and Talakai.
That's twins.
The twins there. My halves, which is where I think they fall short, is Amoni and Tui Lolahia. Front row, I've got Adam Fanua Blake, Havili, and Takiaho. Second row, I've got Felici Kafusi and David Fafita. And then lock, I've got Jason Tamalolo. And then my bench, I struggled a bit. I put Will Hapawadi in there at 14. Then I got Fotueka, Tavita Totola, and then Ola Kawatu. There's still several players that will probably come in. I was just picking who I thought was best. But yeah, that centre pairing is terrifying.
Absolutely. And that's you're missing out on Will Penasini in that centre pairing too, you know. So
I just went for big.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
that's very Brad of you.
I wanted props. It's the closest I could get to having props in the back line.
I think Isaiah Katoa might get a Jagger spot on that bench for them too, as a bit of a impact play. He's had a good season at Penrith in the lower grades. But yeah, that is a scary, scary team. And thank God we won't have to meet them until the final. The team that I've picked is the one that will probably go through is Papua New Guinea, and I've stitched myself up, boys. I'm gonna I'm going to go through the Papua New Guinea team list here, or squad first. So we've got Wellington Albert, Jacob Alick, Kevin Appo, Watson Boss, Xavier Coates, Edeni Gebi, Edwin Ipap, Zev John, Alex Houston, Lachlan Lamb, Kyle Laybutt, Nene McDonald, Reese Martin, Sylvester Namo, Jimmy Ntulik, Justin Olam, Nixon Putt, Daniel Russell. Did I get that one right? Daniel Russell.
Pronunciation was a bit off. But...
yeah. Roderick Ty, Sherwin Tanabe, Wessa Tenza, Emmanuel Wane, and Mackenzie Yeh. The 17 I went with is Alex Johnston at fullback, Coates and Nene McDonald on the wings, Justin Olam and Edeni Gebi in the centres, Kyle Laybutt at 5'8", Lachlan Lamb at half. My props are Wellington Albert and Sylvester Namo. Edwin Ipap is the hooker, Nixon Putt, Daniel Russell are the second rowers, Reese Martin at lock, and then my bench I went with Watson Boas, Emmanuel Wayne, Kevin Appo, and Jeremiah Simbican. And
not a bad sign.
Some of those guys, I have no idea who they are. I had to Google a couple of them. Yeah, but the other squad is Cook Islands in this. What do you call it?
Cool.
In this pool, yeah. A couple of names in this Cook Island squad. A couple of guys from the past that we may remember. Tevin Arona, Tini Rao Arona, Jeff Daniela, Anthony Gelling, Kale Iro, who is Kevin Iro's son, played at the Sharks this year, made his debut. Makaheshi Makatoa, Asan Masters, Stephen Masters, David Moali, Tepai Moroa, Dylan Napa, our mate Pride Pedersen Radi, Dominic Peyru, Brendan Piacora, Brad Takairangi, and Zane Tedavano. So, not bad. That's what I mean. Not a bad outfit. I think the Cook Islands are going to be like the Samoans and the Tongans of like a couple of years ago, where they really struggle with their halves, and that'll be their undoing. And even now, those Pacific Island nations, they're still picking halves that are not, let's say, like Tui Lolohea, probably not the most ideal halfback to be thrown into a World Cup side, but they can only do pick who they've got available. But yeah, I think the Cook Islands may surprise a few teams in this in that pool. They may take out Papua New Guinea. They'll definitely take out Wales. And speaking of Wales,
that's hurtful. I'm part Welsh, you bastard.
Well,
sorry, Dad.
I can't help the fact. I can't help the fact that they're garbage rugby league players.
There's some. Not all of us.
No. Notable players from Wales. Caleb Aikens. Wasn't he at Penrith for a while?
Yeah, Canberra.
Yeah.
Couple of other things in regards to Wales. There's 3 sets of brothers, including 2 sets of twins, that'll be playing for Wales. There's Ben and Reese Evans, Connor and Curtis Davies, and they're the 2 sets of twins. And then there's James and Ollie Olds. Now, I Googled that. I have no idea who any of those guys are, but they're going to be
a very small place. It's a small place.
And the rest of them are all called Jones, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, mate. Yeah. All right. So, who's your tip for who's going to win it, boys? The Rugby League World Cup, the Men's World Cup.
Kangaroos.
Dreaming.
We'll see.
It's delusional over there. Kiwis for me. Kiwis have actually played a game of international football in the past 4 years, unlike Kangaroo. So they know what it's like.
Yep.
Love it to be Kiwis. Would really love it to be Kiwis. But I'm just going to try a bit of reverse psychology and say Kangaroos.
Coward.
And hope the Kiwis
Using your brain. Well done.
I don't want to jinx the Kiwis. If I pick them, they won't win.
Kiwis to win. Kiwis to play either Tonga or Samoa in the final.
I'll double down. If the Kiwis lose in the semi-finals to the Kangaroos, Tonga win the World Cup.
Yeah, I think the
Kangaroos
winner,
aren't winning.
No, I don't think the Kangaroos can win it.
I also said the Panthers weren't winning this week. So.
Well, we've got to go with the history too, because the history of the Kiwis in these kind of competitions, these kind of formats, they get stronger as the competition goes on. And they've always been able to do that. So probably the thing that I guess worries me is that our pool is really
soft.
Soft. So our tune-up games are not going to be hardened, and then all of a sudden we're going to be coming up against Fiji in the quarters or Australia. So that could be a problem for us. But by then, hopefully, 3 games under our belt, 4 if you count this Leeds game, we could be heading in the right direction. So, mate, boys, like the Men's World Cup, we've got the Women's Rugby League World Cup. That kicks off a little bit later. I think it kicks off around the time that the men's semis or quarters are happening. It'll be kicking off with the host nation England playing another monstrous big name of World Rugby League in Brazil in the women's game. Only 2 pools, 8 teams. So Pool A is England, Brazil, Canada and Papua New Guinea. And Pool B is Australia, Cook Islands, France and New Zealand. Have you got the Gilaroo squad there, Brad, in front of you at all?
No, once I heard Millie was out, I didn't care anymore.
Okay. I'll go through the Australian. We're not going to go through all the squads. We'll just go through the Australian and New Zealand. I think they're the 2 squads that are going to be playing for the final. England probably think they've got a good chance to take this out there. In the 3 years that there's been no international games for the women due to COVID, England have actually played 4 test matches in the past 2 years. 2 against Wales, 2 against France. Wins against Wales 60-0, 32-6. Wins against France 40-4 and 36-10. But they haven't played the Kiwi Ferns since 2017 when they lost 52-4. And they haven't played the Gilaroo since 2017 when they lost 32-0. So I don't really like England's chances. They've got 2 big name players in Jodie Cunningham and Amy Hardcastle in that squad. But I think Australia and New Zealand are just going to be too strong for them. I'll go through the Australian squad. Taryn Aitken, Kezi Apps, Shaylee Bent has now come in as a replacement for Millie Boyle, who pulled out. Sam Bremner, Ali Brigginshaw, Lauren Brown, Jamie Chapman, Kennedy Shanae Shisolka, Yasmin Clydesdale, Keely Davis, Alia Fui Mayono, Talisha Harden, Caitlin Johnson, Keely Joseph, Isabel Kelly, Olivia Kernick, Shannon Marto, Ivania Polite, Julia Robinson, Jessica Surgis, Samaima Taufa, Emma Tonagato, who is the replacement for Tamika Upton, who's pulled out. Holly Wheeler rounds out that squad. It's a pretty strong squad. Some great representation there, obviously, from the NRLW. And then the Kiwi squad, boys. Looks like this. Amber Paris Hall, Annette Claudia Nuasala, Arpy Nichols, Autumn Rain Stevens Daly, our mate Brianna Clark, which was a bit of a surprise for us, Rob.
Surprise. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I had to talk to her the other day to confirm it was actually her and not a different Brianna Clark.
It was her mum or her grandparents? Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
Both, yeah.
Charlotte Scanlon, Crystal Stowers, Crystal Tamarua, Georgia Hale, Hayley J. Ormond Monsell, Kat Wirakohu, Carly Hansen, Caitlin Vaha Akolo, Crystal Rota, Leishon Albert Jones, Madison Bartlett, Mele Hufanga, Maya Hill Moana, Nita Maynard, Otessa Pule, Paige McGregor, Racine McGregor, Roxy Murdoch Masilla, and Shanice Parker. See, the Kiwis know to pick their Dally M medalist in the... Yeah.
Yeah. That's another reason why we're winning the World Cup. We've got a smarter selector than Mel Meninga.
Yeah. That's
right. Women's
right.
World Cup. Yeah.
Bit of rivalry in the Murdoch Masilla Mate, you can't talk like that, Rob.
Yeah,
Bit of
geez.
rivalry in the Murdoch-Masilla household with Ben representing Tonga and Roxy representing the Kiwis. What do you guys think of who's going to be in the final? Who's going to win the Women's World Cup?
I think it has to be Jillaroos Kiwi Ferns final.
Yeah, you'd think so.
I couldn't honestly say one way or the other. I think both sides are really strong. I'll go with the Kiwis because I'm biased, but I wouldn't be surprised if either team won, to be honest. There's quality because of the NRLW. There's quality for both nations now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would just be a good contest. Footy will be the winner at the end of the day on that one.
Yeah. I think with the withdrawal of Upton and Boyle, it probably gives the Kiwis a better chance because they're two, especially Upton. She's a game breaker, and the work rate of Millie Boyle, they're going to find somebody now to run those 270 metres that Millie Boyle's not going to be running. So yeah, going to be. I reckon you're right, mate. It's down to Ferns and the Jillaroos. I'll say a Kiwi double, men's and women's World Cup.
Yeah. Right choice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Kiwi Ferns. I'm disgusted in myself for backing the Kangaroos, and I'm wanting to take it back now. Actually, I want to get on your wavelength, Hammer. I'm liking your vibes.
Jump on, mate. There's plenty of room on this.
Yeah. Like I say, I'd love it to be the Kiwis. I've seen too many. I've seen
Kidwell's
too many
not in the coaching box. It's fine.
Yeah, you're right. The key's not in the way this time.
No,
we've got that great Tigers coach.
Woogie Maguire.
Woogie Maguire and his love blisters.
Well, that wraps up the World Cup preview. I'm really looking forward to watching some of these. It's going to be a tough watch, though. The time that it's on in the morning.
Yeah, punishing.
I think the Kiwis' first game's on a Monday morning, so I'll be working when that's on. Definitely won't be watching that. But I think our other two pool games are on Saturday morning or Saturday night, Sunday morning. So yeah, I'll get to watch that. The other teams I really don't care about. You can watch your Kangaroos, Rob.
Fine, I will then.
But you'll be up for the first game, mate, when the Kiwis take on Lebanon, won't you?
Yeah, of course. Yep, I'll be go Lebanon. Yeah. Look up that song; it's sensational. Honestly,
I'm gonna look it up now.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we do have some live shows coming up, and next week we're getting back to our head-to-head chats with some of our former legends, and we have Warrior 109 Tony Martin coming on next Thursday, 13th of October, in for a chat. I'm really looking forward to talking to him because he came into the club in 2004. It's a year that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but it's another year where we fell off a cliff, and it's just interesting to find out what actually went on behind the scenes there. And I remember saying when we caught up with him, he goes, I couldn't believe what a gun squad we had when I turned up in 2004. And, obviously didn't go so well.
No.
So that'll be a great chat. Played 4 seasons at the Warriors. Great bloke, Tony Martin. So make sure you tune in next Thursday. So that will be at 7:30 Queensland time, 8:30 ends 8:30 New South Wales time. And sorry, you guys, it'll be a late one for you. Yeah. But you can always catch it on the replay. And we're still in negotiations with some other guests to get them on as well. Following that, we're going to be doing a show based on a comment on one of our posts this week saying, why do we always end up letting go of all our great players? We've come up with WDWLHG. Why did we let him go? Yeah. So the week after that, we're going to do a show about confronting the topic of why do we let all of our best players go to other clubs and kill it. So, stay tuned for that one. That will be the following Thursday, 20th of October.
Or the myth involved.
The myth. That's right. I wasn't going to give that away yet. That's the twist. That is the twist.
Yeah. The myth that that players leave us and go on to bigger and better.
They all go leave us to become world beaters and all that sort of thing. So yeah, we're taking that.
We're going to go through a comprehensive list, and you'll probably see that you could probably count 5, like on one hand, 5 guys that have gone on to bigger and better things. So yeah, going to be interesting. Just a reminder that we are on Patreon, which is our membership subscription support platform. Our followers to show their support by signing up to a $3 subscription, which helps us put together this wonderful visual package that we are able to bring you with our 4 wonderfully handsome heads at the moment. I just want to give a shout out to our bronze tier Patreon subscribers: Daniel Delore, Peregrine Falconer, Sean Kurzweil, Fabian Moroa, Stevie Williams, Christian Catley, Alf Tuolave, TK Harris, Ted Clark, Ina Mete, Lisa Marie Bateman, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Kane Fraser, Jermaine Downs, Malcolm Earnshaw, Dennis Danzo, Ciala Alfamasanga, Shane Musafal, and our newest Patreon subscriber, Richie Sterling. There he is. Look at him there.
Man.
What a great list to be part of.
Fantastic list of legends.
Yeah. But in all honesty, we do appreciate the support from everyone. And just a shout out to Ina Mete, who's doing it a bit tough at the moment.
Yeah.
Going through a bit of a medical event, we will say. Probably the best way to put it. We will share, Ina's doing a bit of a walk to raise some money for cancer research. So we'll share the details on that on our social media, and if you can get behind him, do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you, Ina. If you guys want to score yourself some fantastic merchandise, then go to our Redbubble store. You can get this fantastic PJ Marsh shirt, or the Warriors Player of the Year shirts that Hammer is modelling there. We got some fantastic designs up there that you guys can purchase, and everything. All purchases of the merchandise from our Redbubble store goes to helping us out with our Restream licenses again. We got some shirts honouring players of the past. I've just done a design for our best fullbacks, our best wingers, our best centres, and our best halves. I'm going to be doing a collage shirt for each position, honouring the best players that have donned the Warriors jumper in those positions. Captain's collage there as well. And, honouring all of our players of the past, present, and, of course, the great man, Mike Doreen. So,
Mike Doreen.
Yeah, if you do want to score yourself some unique Roo and Hammer merchandise and help us out at the same time, go to the link that's on your screen. Make sure you head to our Redbubble store. You go through our store, the Roo and Hammer, and get yourself a bargain.
Absolutely. I think Brad's just waiting for the front rowers shirt to come out before he.
It's coming, Brad. Yeah.
What's going on?
Don't forget, if you miss any of our live shows, you can catch up on our Facebook page or go to our video section of our on our YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you hit us up on YouTube, like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. The easiest way to find any of our stuff is you go to our link tree. We think Rob will put up on the screen now. And that has direct links to each of our live guest interviews, special presentations, etc. If you're a podcast fan, you can find us on our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google. Make sure you subscribe to us there. And please follow us on Instagram, which is Roo and Hammer, where we upload content daily to keep all of our followers informed of our upcoming events, Warriors news, player movements, and all other Warriors-related content.
Absolutely. And that is tonight's show. Huge thanks to you, legends, Brad and Richie, for joining us once again. Always love having you on. And to all you guys who continue to support us at Roo and Hammer, very much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. Thanks again to Brad and Rich. Don't forget, you can follow these guys on Instagram and Facebook, and they're always live on a Wednesday.
Standoff.
Yeah. So on New Zealand Sport Radio, we got our Standoff Awards next week since there's no more games to talk about. So we're going to discuss our preseason predictions and how wrong I was and how right Richie was. And just some fun little awards like best facial hair and best player and all that stuff. So should be fun. Nice little blow off before the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Everyone stay safe. If you're in Sydney over this weekend, try and stay out of the rain. If you're in Wellington, stay out of the snow. And if you're in Queensland and Auckland, well, enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah, we will try. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care, guys. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.